At Direct Service Garage Doors, we are your one-stop shop for all things garage door. From garage door repair and broken spring replacement to new garage doors and openers, we do it all. We're proud to be among the highest-rated local garage door companies in all of Northwest Arkansas. Our highly trained technicians are available 24 hours a day at no extra cost to you. So if you have an emergency, call us today, 479-203-5880, or visit our website at directservicenwa.com. Don't wait days. We'll fix it now.
All right. Welcome. Make sure you guys like, share, subscribe. Tell me if you can hear me too. I'm using different program here, so let me know if you guys can hear me loud and clear. Arkansas goes on the road, gets absolutely walloped. No surprise there. Well, I mean, it is when you consider the opponent. LSU is not that much. They're not 95-74 better than you are, but apparently today they were. So again, let me know if you guys can hear me. Sounds clear. Good. All right. Yeah, I mean, I wanted to rage, wanted to scream, yell, top of my lungs. What the hell? But at some point, what we saw today was just a confirmation of what we've seen before, and it's confirmation that this team is still who we thought they were. Kentucky just must not be that good. I don't know, man. Arkansas was in position to beat Kentucky for more than just 30 minutes of that game. Missouri must be really, really bad. Arkansas ran them out of their own arena for a while, anyways. It's very discouraging. Make sure you guys like, share, subscribe. Listen, that's what we do. We're going to talk about it. We're going to discuss it. We're going to open things up. You guys tell me all the time, Ty, win or lose, man, I'm here. I'm liking, I'm sharing. I'm of course I'm subbed. I'm in your Patreon. We support you. But man, it feels good, win or lose, to come here and to just for all of us together talk about, kind of decompress, if you will. It is indeed therapy for you guys as much as it is for myself, as Trey Biddy once put very elegantly. I swear I haven't been drinking yet. This is Diet Pepsi. I am, however, going to light up. This is a call-in show, so I'm going to give you guys the opportunity to call in, discuss. Maybe you want to rant. So there's a link. There's a link in chat. I'll share it again in case you guys want to call in and give your thoughts and opinions in actual speaking terms, right? I didn't watch, but 3 minutes and 12 seconds, says Michael Kopesky. There's a really good article that was written. I say it's really good. Most of what I read, I didn't read the whole thing. It was just talking about how fans are letting go. I guess there's some popular caller on the 103 The Buzz show who's been a fan since like the 1960s, and he said for the first time ever, I'm done. I'm done with Arkansas athletics. This is the problem that Hunter Yurachek is faced with, and it's not all on him. I do believe, and I know I talked about this on Don't Read the Podcast. We did a podcast, or Don't Read the Comments podcast. These guys, shout out to them. We did a podcast last Friday night, and I brought up that Hunter Yurachek, I'm not saying that he should be, and by no means do I think the man should be. I'm not even sure if his seat should be hot. I just think that there's going to be a lot of pressure on him, and I think that to a degree, I think he deserves a little bit of skepticism, not because of Musselman, not because of what's going down here, but I do think with how things have been handled, whether it's the stadium renovations, whether it's the ticket price hikes at Baum, whether it's the way the contract that was negotiated with Eric Musselman and his buyout, which is it's not. I don't know that at the time it was as competitive. I don't know. But we could kind of go down the list. NIL being I feel like he's 2 years behind in the NIL department. We know that he's calling for a little bit of policing on NIL, which is perfectly reasonable. I don't disagree with him on that, but I do think stuff like this, it kind of adds on to to the pressure that he's already under. And make no mistake about it, if Arkansas basketball and Arkansas football shit the bed again next year, if you guys don't think then his seat's going to get a little warm. I mean, guys, those are the biggest revenue, especially football, the biggest revenue creation on campus. I don't know how much fans are going to buy into the rest of the season when it comes to basketball. People have already let go of the rope. But again, this is 1 year. This is 1 year. Musselman, it's okay. This 1 year is fine. I'm not going to oh, God, move on. Time to move on. Nowhere near should you be there. You should not be there. If you're saying we need to move on from Musselman or Hunter Yurichek, I just don't – no way. But I do think he deserves a little bit of criticism. And if he lets Musselman leave, despite how this year goes, he's gonna get it. He's gonna get it. But see, I don't think he's going to leave. The more I think about it, the more I think that this is kind of planned. All this pressure about Musselman leaving, I think it feels planned. It feels made up. Just like some of the other bullshit drama that we're seeing here and there. I think it's all made up. Certainly seems that way. So I don't know, man. Make sure you guys like, share, subscribe, all that stuff. Let's defeat the YouTube algorithm that's kicking my ass right now. So do me that solid, if you will. Share. You don't have to share it on your socials. Just share it to a group chat you're in. Hey, come on in here. We're talking. Ty, I have not given up on this year. What do you mean? Basketball? I'm glad you haven't. You're not, then that means you're definitely not a casual. But then again, even some of the most hardcore fans have given up that I've talked to. I'm happy for you. I just don't know what's left. I mean, this team is, man, this is the worst team we've seen in a decade. I think this is going to be the worst team that we've seen in over a decade. If not, it's way up there. It's certainly in the top 3. One of the worst teams that Arkansas's put on the floor. And again, this is going to add what I believe. This is going to add more pressure for Hunter Yurichek. And the reason why I brought that up on the podcast, I forgot to go back to my point when I was on the pod. Down the road, this seems like it's mounting up on Hunter a little bit. I don't know, man. I think basketball will definitely be, if next year they're bad again, or they miss the tournament, or they're anywhere near this bad. I don't think they'll be anywhere near this bad, but never say never. Yeah, the pressure is going to be it's going to be laid on pretty thick, and then it makes you wonder: does he maybe leave for another? Does he leave for another gig because things have gotten so contested here? Cigar and whiskey. Pour up, Ty. I've got my cigar here, but it keeps dying on me. I need to I get distracted and I let it set, and it doesn't take long for some of these to just let's see. Ashton Wilson says, I think the more accurate statement is these guys have lost Muss. There's no doubt. You saw the Mitchell. If you missed it, Mitchell and Musselman got into it. Some of you may not have been watching the game. I can't blame you. They got into it. It was very clear that there was some words shared back and forth. I think it was Mark that was trying to separate the two of them. It looked like Mark was trying to keep Mitchell back. Something tells me if Mitchell wanted to get really mad and angry, it would take a hell of a lot more than Mark to hold him back. Well, this sucker doesn't want to stay lit. My God. This team is just weak AF. This team is just weak Abercrombie and Fitch. My favorite season is upon us. Woo damn pig. Yeah, baseball season. Baseball season is I put out this tweet a little while ago, and I've already caught a couple people in my DMs that are not happy with the comment. I don't know what was wrong with the comment, but I'll just read it aloud. Arkansas baseball is going to have pressure on them this year more than ever from fans. Folks just want something reflective of a winning product in a Razorback uniform, to which I got a couple DMs. Well, it's not letting me pull it up now. Oh, no, here it is. You, sir, are unbelievable. Someone DMs me. And I said, you, sir, are soft. No, I'm just a Razorback fan and believe in Coach Muss. 1 losing season out of 5 isn't bad. I don't think that's what that tweet said. Now, I don't share DMs in terms of like, I'm not going to show you the name. I'm not going to do that. But I'm just going to read what this individual says. People need to grow up and stop being fickle fans, but it is that way in every college. So, I mean, he's not wrong about fans being fickle, but I think what I said was pretty on the money. There's gonna be a lot of pressure on baseball. There's gonna be a lot of pressure on Dave Van Horn this year to win, to put something together. I don't think that. Listen, getting to Omaha is always a successful season, and Dave Van Horn has done that a number of times. I fully believe this team is capable. I know it's kind of. I feel like we've been here now. This is the third time, three sports where we feel like, okay, the product on the field, the product on the floor, and once again now the product on the field should be the ceiling should be pretty high for these guys. And baseball should be the highest among the three. Baseball should probably be the highest among the three. And we're 0 for 2 so far. I don't think we're going to be 0 for 3. I really don't. Now I mean in terms of a successful regular season. Postseason baseball is almost like an entirely different season. Here's that link again if you guys want to call in. I'll share it in Discord too, just in case. We're going to go over the numbers here in just a second. Shout out to Direct Service Overhead, the Garage Door Company. Same-day services, quality parts, affordable outcomes, hundreds of 5-star reviews, better than best results. Their link is provided for you down below in the description box. Here's the link in Discord for anyone who's... Also, the Oddsville Crap Bar and Pizzeria. Fantastic pies, IPAs on tap. You name it, they've got it. Great staff. Awesome environment to catch a game. Maybe you don't want to waste your time and buy a ticket. Maybe you don't want to go through all that just to watch Arkansas disappoint. You want to go to a bar, you want to go somewhere, eat a good pizza, get you a slice, drink a little IPA or whatever the hell you drink. Maybe you're just a soda guy. It's a good place to do it over at the Oddsville Crap Bar and Pizzeria, located on Emma Street in Springdale. We do have someone that wants to. We have a caller. Hang on, let me make that disappear and bring on Coach Willie. What's going on, man?
Hey, man. So, you're talking about obviously this season's gone. It's done.
Oh yeah.
Let's go to next season. We're talking about roster turnover here. You're essentially going to lose everybody for the most part on the roster. So, if you go back and look at the history of Musselman, essentially every single year it almost seems like every year you keep maybe 2 to 3 players and you're almost building a brand new roster. It's been pretty consistent. It's, people say, well, we got new players, we got more. It's been normal, right? Nothing's changed. We've never been that great offensively.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
The difference between this year and previous years is if you go back and you look at the tournament runs, somebody gets hot. Stanley Amude gets hot.
Yeah.
Note gets hot. But the guys that were supposed to be able to get hot for us this year, it's just frustrating. Battle is supposed to be this 15 points a game scorer.
Yeah.
And he's just not, man. He's not. He doesn't. He it seems like every shot he takes, he rushes.
Yeah.
Graham put up 16 points today, but man, he just can't cut. He just can't play defense. And I think from top to bottom, this team cannot play defense. The Woo Pig podcast, I'm sure they were paying attention to Pinion today. How awful did Pinion look?
Yeah.
It just. I don't know. I think Muss gets a pass this season. I really do.
Oh yeah.
But the problem is, and I think every fan knows this, the reason why Muss gets a pass is every fan in the offseason, I said this before, assumed, right, that Musselman would try to build a roster like the team that beat our tails in the tournament.
Yep.
Everybody assumed that. And every time I turned around, it was like, we got Battle, we got Mark, and it was guard after guard after guard. And if you do that, right, you better be putting up 80 to 90 points a night. And that's great. That's fine and all things. But the problem is we've never been that team.
Yeah.
So you got to go out and get some size, get some length. And I hope that Musselman has learned that 6'8" string beans in the lane are not going to bro, I got a silver recliner. I'm not in no silver recliner. I'm on a couch.
It does kind of look like a recliner, though.
No, man, I'm on a couch. But you know, I think everybody at this point is ready for baseball season, and I'm hoping that we're consistent offensively baseball this year. You know what's good news, Ty? We got a catcher this year that we stole away from Texas Tech that can actually hit the baseball.
Yeah. I forgot about him. Yeah. I was going to say they've got like 3 guys at catcher. They're going to have it's going to be an interesting dynamic.
I remember last year Arkansas would be bases loaded and the 7, 8, 9 hitters would come up and everybody would just know we're not scoring a run.
Nope.
So this year I think we got a much more offensively minded team. And he brought in some good players, but man, I'm hoping that basketball wise that we flush this season. You're going to have some good players back next year. Minifield's going to be back. Blocker, I think, will be back. But it's going to be another roster turnover, and fans just going to have to accept that. But
yeah.
Anyways, Ty, I appreciate what you do.
Appreciate
you. It's not easy to do what you do, especially with the bull crap we've had to deal with this year. But appreciate you, buddy.
I appreciate you, man.
All right, man. Have a good one.
You too.
Bye.
Yeah, it's not easy. It's this year makes it so much harder, and it is nice to have you guys call in because it gives me someone to kind of bounce stuff off of. Every once in a while, when you're a solo act, I get it. You want to hear multiple people, on the screen chat, and it's just me. So call-in shows help with that a little bit. Let you guys come in and voice your opinions. Then maybe we can have a little back and forth. As always, good call from Coach. Agreed, no discipline, no respect from team. I'm going to say this. I'm glad that they're showing a little bit of life like they're heated. They're mad because they're losing. I would be more upset if they were smiling, clowning around, Muss just sitting down, not doing anything. Now they caught him sitting down a little bit. I think we can all agree that Muss is kind of more or less, I think he knows this is just a washed year. We're going to have to do what we can with what we got. We have to move forward. It's not like you can just hit the reset button right now, right? You can't do anything. You can't make trades. You can't make deals. You can't pull anyone off out of free agency. It's not how this works. You roll with what you got. Tonight, let's get to the actual game here really fast. Again, please feel free to call in. In the first half, LSU got off to a really, really good start. They led 45-30. They're up 15 points a half. Then like the odds of winning anybody coming back from a 15-point deficit on the road, really hard to do. They were 7 of 12. I say LSU on fire. I mean, they shot 7 of 12, 58%. Baker 17 points in the first half. 17 points, 15 boards, 9 assists total. Again, this is team stats. 15 boards, 9 assists, 9 team fouls, 6 turnovers for LSU, but shooting 63% from the floor in the first half. You start off that hot, and you're knocking down 7 threes, 7 of 12. You're 8 of 11 at the free throw line. 11 attempts in the first half. That's not bad at the free throw line. So they got to the free throw line. They did a good job. Wright was 4 or 5 there. Wright had very little impact, at least in terms of scoring, just 4 points, 2 assists, 3 boards in the first. Arkansas shot 39%, 14% outside, 78% at the free throw line, 7 of 9. So then we go to the final stats. You look at how this thing ended up. I mean, I know it's pointless, but we do have to, we got to absorb some of this, right? LSU rather, 55% shooting and 52 outside. 55% shooting from the floor and 52% outside. And, oh, yeah, by the way, 25 of 28 at the free throw line. They shot 89%. They got bench production. Baker went the hell off. He had, you let some random player have the game of his life against you. Once again, that's Arkansas's defense. 9 of 11 for Baker, 4 of 5 shooting outside. By the way, this is a sub 30% shooter. This is a sub 30% shooter. We're not talking about an elite 3-point shooting team, and yet they shot 52% on the night. 12 of 12 threes given up. Really, though, that doesn't surprise anybody with how horrible Arkansas's perimeter defense has been. The more I look at these numbers, the more pissed off I get. Baker had a night. He's easily the MVP of this entire game. 2 rebounds, 1 assist, and a block, again, with the 25 points, 9 of 11 overall shooting. Arkansas, 44% shooting. They got better in the second half. The offense kind of found its rhythm a little bit. Their defense, though, still nowhere to be found. 44%, 24 of 55, just 3 of 13 shooting outside. That's 23%, 69% at the free throw line, 23 of 33 at the line. Mitchell had another, when you combine, he didn't have a double-double, but he did have 4 assists, 3 boards, 1 steal, just 2 turnovers and 10 points. Mitchell, despite getting into that heated argument with Musselman, still put it all out there, right? He still had a pretty good game. How about Graham? No defense, as it was pointed out in the call a minute ago, but 18 points, 2 steals, a block, 4 boards, 1 offensive rebound, just 3 fouls. Considering the amount of minutes he got tonight, surprised he didn't foul out. But yeah, and then Mark with 20 points, 6 boards, 2 steals, and a block. Arkansas ends the night with their fewest blocks in the SEC play, just 2 blocks. They had 12 turnovers, 10 assists. Oh, man. All right, we got Pat coming up next. Pat, what do you got for me, man?
Hey, what's going on, Ty?
Oh.
Hey, man, I'm not one of these guys. Now, I'm going to criticize Musselman, but, I don't want to come across as one of these people talking about we need to get rid of Muss. You know what I mean?
Right.
I'm just saying that, as a coach, he's still relatively young. He's no Nolan Richardson, and he can get better. Said last time when I called in, clearly he's in a situation where, he came into college basketball using NBA analytics that gave him an edge. Now, particularly in the SEC, people have caught up to what he's doing. And anytime, man, you go into a game and you get beat pillar to post, in every loss we've had, particularly in the SEC, but you can go into Oklahoma and some of the other games we've had. We didn't even lead. It wasn't like it was a back and forth at some point and they went on a run and kind of just got us. It was like they just got on us and drove us from there. And in previous years, one of the things Muss was strong at was second half adjustments. He was really good at, going into halftime. You could count on the fact coming in the second half, he make the adjustments and give us an edge for the second half. But that's not even happening anymore. And it just tells me that, he's too wedded to certain ideas. And you saw it again where, guys don't use the mid-range. It's either the 3-point or go all the way to the rim.
Yeah.
So LSU was being physical, and you're on the road. You're not going to get the bailout calls and the superstar calls and stuff you're going to get in the NBA. And that's what's killing us offensively. And then all the, the turnovers on offense are leading to transition points for the other team, and Muss just has to get better. And it's not on the players. I really think it's a matter of Muss learning to grow as a coach. It's not the talent he has.
So you don't put any of what we've seen this year, you don't put on the players?
Well, to some degree, but okay, let me give you this example.
Okay.
You take guys like Battle. Dude was a 96% free throw shooter, coming into Arkansas after 3 years at Temple.
Temple, yep.
He was a high 3-point percentage shooter. But he comes to Arkansas and all of a sudden he can't shoot anymore. And that's been a pattern under us. I mean, even like take a guy like JD Note. Note came in, he redshirted the first year, but once he came off the bench that first year, he was known as instant offense coming off the bench.
I remember.
But if you look at every year under Musselman, he progressively got worse as a shooter. So by his third year, he was still good. He was the best we had, but he definitely didn't progress. But even that is kind of a lot of, this quick hook Musselman has, where a guy gets in the game, he makes one mistake, one error, he gets yanked out. Guys like Pinion, you obviously need shooters. He's the best shooter you got, but he can't stay on the floor because if he comes in and makes any mistake, he gets yanked out. People try to say, oh, it's because he can't play defense. Well, Tremont Mark and Devo Davis and all these guys are supposed to be these elite defensive stoppers. They're getting beat off the dribble just as much as Pinion. They're not pulled from the game.
Yeah.
And even that is like they're overplaying to one side. You can tell it's like they're getting the scouting report. Oh, this guy likes to go left or right, so overplay him to this side. Well, you're dealing with Division I college basketball players. Yeah, he may like to go that way, and if you let him do it, he's going to do it. But that don't mean he's not capable of going the other way and going all the way to the rim. If you're going to overplay him to one side and don't have any rim protection, that's all schematics and coaching, man. And I think that's why the players are getting frustrated because they're doing the things he's asking them to do, but it's not working. And so I hear what you're saying. Yeah, some of it goes to the players, but as the great Kenny Mayne used to say, a good craftsman never blames his tools.
That's hard to argue with that. It's hard to argue. And you're not wrong. I mean, the offensive identity, it is, I think you're probably right. I think he does anticipate getting the calls. And when he doesn't get the call, he throws a fit. I mean, we saw it today. We see it every game. I think you're right. I think he relies on those superstar calls that you got in the league. I mean, this is what, his 9th year in college basketball as a head coach. Is that right? This is year 5, and he was, what was it? Was it 3 years or 4 years at Nevada?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm sure some of that still carried over, the G League stuff and, the NBA. I'm sure a lot of his game, and you're right, the analytics and everything, that was something that was mentioned after his first season, was that it seems like he's really relying on what he did right at Nevada, which he carried over from the NBA. I think that's probably a pretty accurate argument, 100%. I do agree that he also deserves a lot of criticism. I have seen some silly fouls from players. I have seen at times we've seen guys out of position, not getting to their spots, rushing their shots. You talk about no mid-range game outside of Mark. These guys are rushing their shots, and I think some of that is on them. But yeah, I agree. Musselman this year deserves a hefty amount of criticism. These are his guys too, and you mentioned these guys are supposed to come over and play great defense. Well, he went out and he got guards that could score too, and that hasn't happened. The offense it turns out, it's worse. There's no offensive identity with this team still, and we're halfway through the season. But these guys were brought in here to be solid two-way, great offensive players, to be good on both sides of the floor. And the offense was a hefty, what was the overhaul that we thought we were going to get out of these guys. And it's not outside of a couple of moments, Menifield's had moments. Mark has been one of the more consistent ones.
Right.
But yeah, I hear you. And this is his team at the end of the day that he put together minus Devo Davis and Brazil. So, all right, man, I got some more people lining up to call. I appreciate you as always calling in, man.
All right, Ty. Peace.
Take it easy, Pat.
All right.
It's my man, Unbiased Brim. What's up, bro?
Well, good afternoon. You were my source of information. And I'll tell you why. I got home from work later than I expected because I had staff issues, right? And I had to do extra work. So I was like, I'm like, oh yeah, look, I'm like, I need to wake up at 12 o'clock Eastern so I can see this game. I gotta see the game. I know they're going to keep this momentum going. I wake up at 2:30 and I go to YouTube. And what do I see? Tuss Talk with Ty. Razorbacks smoked on the road. I missed the game entirely. And I'm happy I missed the game right now.
Well, you have that many more minutes of life than the rest of us then.
Yeah, I probably would have burned some of my soul out. So I can just look at the stat line and just tell you this much. I didn't see none in the game, everybody, but it's the same situation as it's been all year. Offensively, we lack an identity and ability to hit shots, and we're not good enough defensively to make up for it like previous teams.
No.
12 for 23 from three-point land. They shot 54% from the field overall. They shot 52% from three.
Mm-hmm.
We can't play defense. The one thing that is Musselman teams that has been a consistent theme is, even when we struggled offensively, we would stay in games because we played well defensively. We're struggling offensively now, and we don't play good defense. Hence, we're not a good team. That's simple as that. That is simple as that, guys. Muss deserves blame. The team deserves blame. There's no way around it. There's no, they caught up with Muss now, and no, it's the team is not good, and Muss is not good this year.
Yeah.
This year. I mean, it's just simple. This year alone, Muss has not been able to find something that works to make the team good. And the reason why Muss is not an offensive coach, he needs to be flexible offensively. Something's got to change offensively. There's a formula that's worked for Muss, and that formula is not working this year. And I think adaptability is Muss's problem. For him, as a coach, his adaptability is in question. I think he has a certain way that he does things, and he's not flexible enough.
Well, let's be real though. Hold on. I agree with you, and I think he's stubborn, and I think his players see it, fans see it, his staff I know sees it. But it has worked. Like up until this year, it has gotten them through March. Back-to-back Elite Eights and 3 straight Sweet 16s obviously speak for themselves. This year, I don't know. I never played basketball beyond 6th grade Jefferson Elementary. I've watched it for decades. I don't know how hard it is to now all of a sudden start drawing up set plays. I know every once in a while they'll do stuff on inbounds passes. I know they will every once in a while.
That's it.
I've
argued with people about that. That's one of his deficiencies is being offensively as a coach. He gives the players way too much freedom and doesn't have enough structure offensively for the team. Because I think when the team struggles offensively, that's where Muss is not his strongest. That's not his strongest suit.
Yeah.
Like if you look at UConn, right? They have a certain offensive structure that we don't have. And I don't know if Muss will ever have it because that's not the type of coach that he is.
That's a good point. And we've talked about this before, and it might have been your call. We talked about this.
It was, I think it was. Well, go ahead. Yeah, hit me.
Well, he went and he grabbed offensive guards that are coming from places that did probably run more set style offense that had something, maybe it's a little bit more up tempo. Maybe it was, they were really solid at one part of their game. And he just, I don't doubt he knows what he's doing. He can watch film and can dissect a player like that. I just wonder if maybe these guys are coming from places where the offense surrounded that player and allowed that player to blossom, and then you bring them here. You don't do that here. Maybe, I don't know. Like I said, I've never coached basketball, never played beyond Jefferson Jaguars. 3 Ds, baby. That was our saying, 3Ds.
I've said this multiple times. I don't hold no candle to any college or professional coach, but I did coach basketball for multiple years for Biddy, AAU. I coached against Marcus Camby, his brother, Richard Hamilton. I know basketball, but I ain't nobody.
Yeah.
But here's the deal, and this is no shot to no player. Must recruited losers.
Ooh. Okay, hold on. Now you're gonna have to go in on that. What do you mean?
Outside of Mark, everybody else came from losing programs. They don't know how to win.
Well, wasn't Temple pretty good last year?
Bro.
Didn't Temple Temple
going 18-12 ain't no great team. And Battle left the team. And Battle left the team before the season finished.
Okay. For some reason,
Battle left like Devo's leaving last year at Temple.
Yeah.
Then you got Davenport came from Cincinnati. Cincinnati wasn't a winning program. You know, they'd been a winning program, but they wasn't a winning program for some of those years that he was there. Okay. Louisville, horrible. We got the best player on a trash team.
You're not wrong about that. You're not wrong about that, dude. They were surprisingly bad.
He brought in players that did not know how to win, except for Mark. That's why you notice the team just horrible offensively and struggles. And the only time we say, dang, if Mark doesn't perform, we're done, right? Because Mark came from a winning program.
I see what you're saying. I get it now. You did bring that up before. Maybe not quite that
emphatically.
But yeah, that's a solid point. That's not anything I've heard anyone discuss. Maybe you just grab guys from losing programs. I don't know how many of them have turned their season around since those guys have left, and there's always that. And
you know what makes it so interesting? Because look, last year, Ricky Cancel came from a program to win. Wichita State ain't great, but they win games. They would win 20 games consistently. They won games.
Yeah.
He got players from winning programs when he brought people in from the transfer portal. This time, he got a bunch of players who had outside of Mark, they had gaudy numbers on trash teams.
Yeah.
They didn't know.
Battle's numbers were, I mean, I had people tell me they were inflated. His numbers at Temple were a little bit inflated.
But again, they were not winning programs.
Yeah.
So these guys don't know how to win. So you're bringing in guys that did not know how to win and was hoping that you could put them all together in that collective thing and help them win. But then you don't have the offensive structure that kind of sets them up offensively. And then they don't have defensive abilities to meet the needs that you have as a coach. Because he's a defensive coach.
Say that again. What?
He's a defensive coach.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he is. I mean, we should know that by now. Do you think what do you do this offseason? Like, what do you do? I know what you would do. You're only going to look at the winning programs, and you want to take the best pieces off those programs those guys that are in the portal. Is that your approach? Like, you just, no matter if the guy was a stud, he's averaging 9 boards, 16 points in the Big Ten or the ACC or another SEC school, you just pass on him because he came from a bad program?
I don't necessarily pass on them because individuals is individuals at the end of the day, right? You can get a guy from a bad team and he can be a superstar because he would just happen to be the best thing on a bad team and he played with max effort. But if I'm comparing players and I got a guy that averaged 10 points a game on a team that won 27 games, or a guy that averaged 15 points a game on a team that won 4 games, guess what player I'm probably going to take?
Yeah. You think that's his approach? I mean, based on what
I don't think that's his approach. I think his approach is just looking at trying to find the best individual player.
Yeah.
But he didn't get guys that were defensively strong though. Menifield's good offensively, but defensively, he can be taken advantage of. He can get away with it in the Pac-12 because the guard play is not large. They have big guards in the SEC.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? And then look, Battle don't know how to win. He doesn't have a winning career.
Well, and to be fair, he's got a short leash too, though. Like Muss pulls him quick. Like we'll see him get a chunk of minutes and then we won't see him again. You know, whether it's in the first half or in the second half.
He didn't earn the trust. He lost the trust of Muss. He lost the trust. He had it during the beginning of the season. Going into SEC play, he lost the trust. Muss lost his trust in him. And because he's weak defensively.
You're not wrong.
Muss did not get the right guys for his style of play this year.
Yeah, that I think will be his approach. And that was kind of the point I was trying to get at. I think he's going to go after guys that maybe he's not looking so much for offensive boost. He's going to look for length, and he's going to look for guys that play a physical brand of defense. I think he's going to go after the length, size. And another thing, where are the space takers? Like where you don't have to have – Corliss was a space taker. He wasn't 7 feet tall. He wasn't 6'10".
He was 6'7", 6'8". He was undersized, but he played like Barkley.
He was 6'7", maybe on a tall day. I've seen
he was Barkley.
Person.
He was a college Barkley.
He took up space. They don't have that. I don't know that he's had that since. I mean, Smith could do it. Smith took up a lot of space. You need that dog, man. You need that guy that just got that dog in him and can back it up on the floor game in and game out.
Mitchell got dog, but Mitchell don't got enough offensive skills.
He did have 10 again. That's 3 straight games, double digits.
Mitchell got dog, but Mitchell can't be your guy to be the dog. He's a piece. He's good for what he's a plug-in guy. You plug him in, he gives effort, he plays, but he can't be that guy. And it looks like out of the whole team, he has the most internal dog, but it ain't consistent enough, and he's not just naturally talented enough to be that guy.
Yeah, No, you're right.
He's solid. Don't get it twisted. He's solid, but he's a piece, not the piece.
Yeah. What Brazil turned into when he was trying to step back and make shots. When he was trying to
Did Brazil play today?
He didn't play today, but
okay.
I think that was part of his downfall this year is he just became another player. He became a piece. He became
a jag, just a guy, just a shooter.
Yeah.
But
that's not why the NBA wants you, Brazil.
The last thing I'll say, my brother, because I don't know if anybody's on, but I didn't watch the game, so I don't deserve too much airtime. But
you're spitting facts, man.
The last thing that is crucially key. The losses of his assistant coaches from when he started.
Yeah.
That's another thing. So Muss's flexibility as a coach for offense, that's lacking. Because I think the players are responsible, obviously, but this is his team. So this is what I'm saying, what I'm seeing. The lack of winners on the floor who knew how to win, not finding the right defensive pieces that fit his coaching style. Because if you are who you are and you don't cultivate, then you got to get what exactly matches that's going to work well with what you do. Yeah. And this year he didn't do it.
Nope. Yeah, he went and got player. It was these are players that he got that were out of his nature. Like these weren't guys that fit what he's done in the past. And he's even admitted it to a degree when he says this team is not like teams in the past, talking about the product on the floor and the actual what we're seeing. And I think it's not meant to say that, build wise, he's just saying the effort isn't like what we've seen before, especially on defense. So I think in a way, I think that's going to be his approach. I don't know. I like what you're talking about with bringing in guys that are coming from losing programs. That's a very solid point. But I think he's going to go back to what he did before. And I love this comment here. I got it on screen. We need the Amude, Tony, Justin Smith types. They don't have them. Mitchell potentially is decent player, but he's just a player. These guys were a little bit more than that.
Well, you know what it is? The thing is, they came from respectable programs that won games. Listen, even though North Dakota State ain't know, but they won games. He was used to winning. It makes a difference when you got players that are used to winning games.
Yeah. You're right.
Oh, these Tony, it wasn't great, but they won. They won enough games to say he knew how to win. These guys don't know how to win. They know how to lose a game.
Let me ask you this. No one's calling yet. You're it. So if you've got a minute, what do you think? What do you think of the point guard situation? Because I think that's the other end of this. It seems like it's been a rotating door. They've tried everyone, non-typical point guards to typical point guards. Because the announcers tonight we're talking about, or today, sorry, we're talking about how much they liked Minifield's play, and then today again, it just seems like the point guard spot is just such a giant question mark game in and game out. What's your take on what's happening there, and what do you think they ought to do?
Okay. Whenever you had a true point guard since Muss has been here?
That's a good point, too. Well, we had a couple of combo guards last year that could.
But we've never had a true point guard. So the reason why it's so glaring this year is because we suck defensively.
Yeah.
If we didn't suck defensively, we wouldn't have these conversations about, we need better guard play. We've never had a true point guard.
It's true.
Now, a true point guard this year would have made up for this team, but it didn't make a difference. Minifield's a good player. He's a solid player, but he's small. So the big guards can, sometimes take him out of the game. Yeah, Blocker is fire. I love Blocker. But he's offensively capped right now because his shot's not there yet.
Yeah. Would you bring those two back? Would you bring those two back?
Hell yes. Yes.
I agree.
I'd bring Pinion back too. And use them right.
Y'all, I don't know what to make of the Pinion thing, but I get more callers who call in and they're like, no, we need to keep Pinion. He needs to get more minutes. If you read Twitter or oftentimes this comment section, it's the opposite. But the people who are willing to call in are like, hold up. No. We need to keep Pinion.
He's not being used based on his strengths.
I don't think he is either. But
there's a reason why, because Muss is not an offensive coach.
Yeah.
And his assistant coaches that he had that play a significant role in those winning teams, they're mostly gone. Only Brewer and Smart is left from some of those winning teams. The rest of the coordinators and the help staff is newer.
Yeah.
And Muss is firm on who he is, which has been a positive for him, but it's a negative for him this year.
Woo Pig in the house. What's going on, Woo Pig?
They said, what is a true point guard? PG's now average 20 points. A point guard that can actually facilitate and set the tone offensively.
Which Minifield has really shown that at times. But I don't know. There's some other things there. Like you said, he gets out physicaled. And those taller guards, the 6'5", 6'6" SEC point guards or SEC guards just
can take him out of the game.
Yeah.
Because if they dominate him on the offensive end and defensively, it wears him down, and then he can't be as effective offensively because he's getting bullied on the defensive side. Where it must be like, dang, I got to switch up because he's getting dominated on the defensive side. So if they're hitting every shot and then he's not able to make his rotations, he's not going to be as effective offensively. Okay, let's put Blocker in. Blocker plays really good defense, but offensively, he can't set the tone, and it kind of can make it easier for the defense if he can't hit outside shots. So it's a conundrum.
Yeah.
It's a conundrum.
Oh, man. These guys work cut out for him in the offseason, bro. And the thing
but he doesn't. He needs to stick what works for him. I hate to say this, Fair enough. I don't want to say this because I want Coach Muss to be a little more flexible as a coach. But what you did this year, don't do it again. Stick to what has worked for you in these past couple years.
That's not what Hog fans wanted, though, especially after the tournament. They wanted those scoring guards.
He tried to give us what we wanted, and look what happened, bro.
I know.
Unless y'all want Muss gone, I'm telling you this right now, all you fans, all us crying, unless you want Muss gone, we're going to have to let him do it the way he's done it.
Yeah.
He tried something different this year, and it blew up in our face. I want him to be more flexible offensively. I want to see more consistent, like a structured offensive sets. So when these players know exactly where they're going to be offensively, that's the problem. They don't know where they're going to really be offensively because he lets it free flow. And we don't have the leadership as a team to do what we did in the past years. Note, quiet, hard-working ethic. Goes out and play the game. Even if he miss, he has a streak in him where it doesn't matter. I'm going to keep playing. Justin Smith coming over. It's just the makeup of the type of players that he brought in were different than this year's team. Yeah. Outside of Mark. Mark is the only guy that he brought over, and maybe Chandler. I think Chandler as well. Even though Chandler, he's clumsy offensively with the ball in his hands sometimes. But Chandler and Mark were the two type of players that I think would have fit his previous year. Every other transfer did not.
Yeah. Chandler got the start tonight, by the way.
Okay.
It was the same five from the last game. Graham, Lawson, Blocker, Mark, and Battle. And I said that's probably what he's going to do. I was hoping that was the key fit, and then.
But the game was lost, it looked like, in the first half.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they were down 15 at half.
Because they defensively sucked.
I mean, LSU they're trying to knock on the door just to get mentioned into the tournament. And they, once again, just exposed a bad Arkansas team.
We have trash defense. If we have trash defense with a must-coach team, it's over with us for every year. We have to have strong defense. Muss has to have a strong defensive team based on his coaching philosophy.
Yeah.
Oh.
Uh-oh. We lose him? Or did I get disconnected? Uh-oh. Oh, no. Did I get disconnected? Can y'all hear me? He had a really good connection. The defense is what ruined our season. You're still here. Okay, it's him. Oh, no. Well, great call, as always, for Mr. Brimley. By the way, I was going to tell him, I don't know why the screen's not popping the way it should. I was going to tell him I got his DM, and we'll talk, by the way. We'll talk. I don't know what happened. He must have. He might be on that T-Mobile. My phone died. Oh, okay. All right. I was going to say, that was either you or me. No, you were spitting facts, though, man. You really were. That was fire. Too much truth. U of A shut him down. That's it right there. U of A came and yanked you off, bro. Hold up. Let me rephrase that. The U of A came in and shut you down. If it ain't one thing, it's another. No reasonable person can deny that we're cursed. Oh, well. Bro, he always comes in and he spits facts. He calls in on Woo Pig too, and he does it there. He's that top. You're all like most of y'all, I'd say 90% of you guys, you call in and it's great. But he's like up at the upper echelon of callers. I love that he calls in. Didn't even watch the game because he had to work, poor guy. He's always great. I agree. He is always great. It's also good to see Woo Pig Pod in here. I'm sure they'll go live later tonight. I'm going to try and catch them. Go check them out, man. Go listen to the Woo Pig Pod. They're crushing it. They're killing it. Also, shout out to Don't Read the Comments. They recorded another podcast. Another one. We did one Friday night. They boosted it out. We had some editing issues. They had to re-push the pod out, but I'm on it. Go watch it. It's fun. We talk a little bit about the the controversy with Vince McMahon. We kind of go all over the place. We talk a little bit about basketball. I throw a little bit of shade at Hunter Yurachek, but that might be a show in and of itself. Like, what do we do? How hot does his seat get, though, if this repeats next year? If football and basketball's down, let's be real, man. This is not the age of Frank Broyles. AD's come and go now more often than they ever have. And I'm not pushing for him to be fired. I think, honestly, he's done, Pittman there for a while. It seemed like, he brought us out of the depths. And then Musselman brought us back to glory of basketball until this year. Baseball, I think he gives whatever Dave Van Horn wants, as he should. I think he's done overall a good job, but I do think moving forward, the NIL stuff is what really the NIL stuff is where I'm just like, and then the Lane Kiffin, the way you kind of feel like he might have gotten bodied a little bit with the Ole Miss thing, but how much of that was him? How much of that was the board? We really don't know the whole story there, so maybe he doesn't deserve criticism for that. I've talked a little bit about the Musselman contract, the extension that he gave him. I've always thought that favored Musselman heavily. I think you can go back to that show after he signed that extension. I said straight up, boy, this seems like an extension that heavily favors the man getting paid, not the man doing the paying. You would like for that to have been a little bit more balanced. I don't know if maybe at the time that was actually a pretty competitive extension. I'm sure it was. Note took 20 shots, missed a lot, made up for it defensively, says Ashton Wilson. Note is my guy. I listen, he wasn't perfect, but I think he's on the short list of one of the great players under Musselman. For sure. Along with Mason. You guys brought up some other players, Amude, Smith. Straight facts after facts, as always, man. It will be scorching. What's going to be scorching? Oh, you're talking about Hunter Yurachek's seat. It's going to be red hot if this happens again. Absolutely. I think it will. But I don't think it's going to happen again. I think assuming him leaving is all bullshit, which it better be. I think he's going to go after his caliber of player in the portal. I believe that. I think he's going to go back to what has worked. This didn't work. Again, like I said weeks ago, maybe even months ago, it feels like I've been saying it a lot. He rolled the dice for you Dungeons and Dragons, Magic the Gathering nerds out there. He rolled the dice, and it just none of them worked out so far. Show is fire. Oh, I appreciate you. I think next season will be different. I do. I think it will be different. And again, Musselman deserves criticism. I think his players deserve a fair amount of criticism as well. This was his team that he put on the floor after all. I don't know how he doesn't catch the majority of the heat. But, is it deserved? Yes, of course, because this is going to be historically one of the worst years we have had in Arkansas basketball. And think about some of the rough years you had under Mike, especially when he first got here. Pelfrey, outside of his first season. The list goes on, man. Even Nolan's final couple of years in the early 2000s. Oh, that got brutal. This is going to go down as one of the worst, unless they can put some wins together, unless they can find a way. And I just don't know with this roster he can do that. And again, going back to the stuff about him leaving, if he leaves, especially dipping out of the SEC, the hottest right now, I think the best up-and-coming basketball. I'm not saying they're the best basketball conference, but they're certainly a conference the last few years, and now you've got Beard over at Ole Miss. You see what's happened at South Carolina. Florida seems to be maybe they're going to figure it out. They're coming back. We know what they did not that long. Well, it's now been a while, actually, now that I think about it. But they did win back-to-back natties. Maybe they're coming back. All of a sudden, this is where it's at. So if you leave even if it's a Big Ten school, you're leaving the hottest scene in college basketball, or one of the hottest up-and-coming college basketball conferences. Like, you could almost make the argument that it's catching up to football, and football, I think, took a step back the last couple of years, a little bit. And I think the portal played a pretty big part in that. And I think it's been, I don't know if it's been an overall negative effect on football, but it's been an overwhelmingly positive effect in SEC basketball, the transfer portal has. And again, the quality of the coaching pedigree in this conference is unreal. Say what you want about Coach Cal. I guarantee if that man were to say, all right, I'm done at Kentucky, there'd be a laundry list of schools after him. And I'm talking big-time schools that would want to bring him there. So he is still considered one of the best coaches despite, his recent years at Kentucky. So Arkansas 2-7, they're back to 500, 11-11 overall. LSU's they're gonna go to 500 in SEC play, 4-4, 12-9 overall. They're trying to knock on the door to get into the tournament, and this is a good place for them to start. Arkansas, you just have to cheer on what wins you get. You got Georgia on the 10th. That's going to be a 5 p.m. tip-off. Yeah, the 10th, 7 days away. What the hell are we going to talk about all week? We can't talk about how bad Arkansas sucks. Or can we? I mean, let's just be real. Let's just be real. Arkansas basketball in 2023/2024 is booty cheeks. It just is what it is. Doesn't mean Musselman's a booty cheek head coach. He's not. I think he's gonna reassess, and he's gonna go back to what has worked. Maybe he can go find himself another Smith. Maybe he can go find himself another Amude. I don't know about a JD Note, but if he could find another JD Note, I certainly thought Mark would get back. Would maybe there for a little while. I thought, man, he might actually push JD Note. He's had a couple of really solid games. We got a super chat here. Most of Musk's past teams have lacked explosive offensive, but made it up by becoming a top 5 defensive threat, especially out in the perimeter. Like, when has he ever had a team this horrible defending the 3? You just made LSU look like Alabama basketball today. Guys. Bot Magnet says, I tried to tell y'all. When? What are you talking about? Why don't you call in? Call in. Tell me. I tried telling you, Ty. Come tell me I'm wrong. Or I'm right. Whatever. Are you saying that you joined the dark side first? You joined the dark side of the force first? Jalen Williams, that's a good point. Jalen Williams, yeah, they don't have a Jalen Williams. Although they call those differently now with the charge. It's a little bit different. I don't know that Williams would have quite the impact that he did that year. Muss has to turn this around next season if he ever wants that plum job on the West Coast. I really hope that he's not running. Why would you want to leave this? It would look like you're running away. Because things got a little hot. Because things got a little hot and heavy. Man, that's a part of coaching, and I know he knows that. My God, he's been involved in coaching for years. So surely he's not going to run away unless some other school just offers him unbelievable. Like, you kind of wonder, like, is the NIL, like, there were some rumors floating around that I know I used the rumor word. I better be careful, but that the NIL, that basketball may not get its cut. I don't know how much truth there is to that. I don't know. Why wouldn't it? Ty, next year, Muss needs to build around a talented physical big man and go get some offensively up and coming coaches. J Wills don't grow on trees. Boy, ain't that the truth. I don't have good service. That sounds like an excuse, sir. I don't want excuses. Did y'all see Mitchell? And that was something I don't think Brimley got to see. Mitchell and Muss got into it. Did you see that? I sure hope that that's some beef they squashed immediately at halftime. That's the last thing they need. Oh, my God. These guys just I hope this isn't something carried over from the locker room. Maybe it's not. They're tired of losing. I'm sure that's what it is. I've been saying for weeks, it feels like Muss is kind of checked out to a degree. I don't mean as the head coach at Arkansas. I'll just mean on this team. I think he knows I have who I have, and I can only do so much. This team can only do so much. Oh, Pat's calling back in. Hold on. Got to get rid of that. All right, what's up, Pat? What do you got for me?
Okay, you brought up something I wanted to talk about, which was that
I figured I did because you're calling back in.
Right, the situation between Muss and
Mitchell.
And my take on that is, and again, it goes back to the whole point guard situation. Makai made a great play, grabbed the rebound, and basically he did what he's supposed to do as a big guy, get it to your point guard. And what happened on that play was, instead of, once the big guy gets the ball like a point guard should do, Minifield should come to him, be like, hey, man, get it so we can run the fast break. Instead, he turns his head and runs upfield. That led to the turnover. But instead of Muss confronting Minifield, he runs it at Makai.
Yeah, that was on Minifield.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's what Makai was mad about. He was like, man, I'm out here busting my tail doing my job. Yeah. The other guy turned his head and ran upfield. But my critique on that as far as Muss and his coaching is, it goes back to this thing. One of the things Muss has is where he would say, like, we don't do 5-on-5 in practice. Now, I know he's changed that somewhat this year. But previous years, he would always say, oh, we don't do 5-on-5. We just do station drills and this kind of thing. And you notice under Muss, very rarely do you see us good in transition, where, we get rebounds, outlet, run the fast break, and that kind of thing. Yeah. That's because we don't practice 5-on-5. We don't practice full court. Everything's half court, station drills, 3-on-3, and those kind of things. So when guys get in game situations, that's something they don't practice. And you could tell on that situation because midfield should be schooled as a point guard. The big guy gets the rebound, get it to me. We're going to run it up court and take advantage of the numbers.
Yep.
But instead, he doesn't know what to do. He just turns his head and runs up like he's we're going to do our little station drills.
Yep.
And so, I just wanted to get that little 2 cents in, man.
I'm glad you did, because that's exactly what that looked like. They don't, like, how did you not, what are you doing? He clearly was lost or just didn't know what to do in the situation. And Mitchell was putting it all out there tonight. I mean, and I don't want anyone to think, none of the callers or myself, and even some of the people in chat are saying that, that the players weren't playing hard. Bro, I mean, some of those guys are they continue to play despite getting run off the floor, despite being down 15, 20, 25 points, at times more. They still play. They still try. But on that particular play, that was a heads-up play that Minifield missed.
Yeah, and of course, Mitchell has been stepping up lately. He's played a big role. I thought he was kind of, maybe, coming into a kind of a Jalen Williams situation where, he could be a double-double guy as a big guy for that size,
Yeah.
And he's been stepping up. And, and then I saw on Twitter after the game where a lot of fans were going in on the players saying, oh, you guys, y'all trash, and throwing everybody under the bus because, that little tiff, between him and Muss. And don't get me wrong, I mean, anybody that plays sports knows those things happen.
They do.
It's really no big deal. But it does kind of touch into some of the problems with Muss's coaching style, because the point guard wasn't prepared to do his job in that situation. And then, Muss lashes out at the guy who's really doing his job. He lashed out the wrong guy. And that kind of goes into some of the things with Devo. I don't know to what degree that some of Devo's frustrations have been, not to say that Devo hasn't stepped up as far as playing the defense and being a leader in some of the things he was supposed to do, because he's definitely done plenty of knuckleheaded things that, got him in trouble. But anyway, I'm going to step off, man, and let you guys have it. But
I appreciate you, Pat.
Yeah.
We got Woo Pig Pod. What's going on, man?
Man, what's going on, Ty? I hope you can hear me okay. I got AirPods in today.
I got you, bro.
So I think this is what maybe some people is going. They're just not looking at this. The players have no respect for Eric Musselman at this point. Just look at how Twinkle Toes, Mekhi Mitchell went at the coach. Would you ever see a player go at Nolan Richardson?
Oh no! You better pray for that bear. You better get that bear some help.
Devo Davis leaves the team. We don't know why. We're not speculating, but word on the street is that him and Muss almost came to blows. The respect for Eric Musselman on this team is out the door because what Eric Musselman doesn't understand that these kids are different now. Gone are the days of coaches being able to yell at kids. Mekhi Mitchell's 6'10", 24 years old. You better come to me with some form of respect. Hey man, let's have a conversation. This is what you should have done instead of making me look bad. Kids don't want to be, they don't want to be yelled at in front of 20,000 people. Man, come to me and talk to me and tell me what I did wrong and let's fix it. Mekhi Mitchell's 24 years old. He's not taking that, especially when he wasn't wrong for the turnover.
He wasn't.
And so it's just, in my opinion, Musselman has lost his team. We don't see guys being used the proper way. Pinion, one of the greatest shooters we got on the team, the greatest shooter we have on the team, spot up. You never see him being put in position to win. You don't see him running the baseline like you would see a Rip Hamilton to get open. Or not, I'm going to use not Patrick Beverly, the shooter. Right now his name escapes me, but y'all know who I'm talking about in Nolan days, the shooter from Massachusetts.
Oh, yeah.
He wasn't the fastest guy in the world.
Yeah.
But he was open. He was busting threes. So you mean to tell me that he can get his shot, but Pinion can't get his shot? These guys are not being used properly. Eric Musselman's offensive game plan is absolute atrocious.
Yeah.
And this is why this,
by the way,
Pat Bradley, slow as ever. Mm-hmm. But Pat Bradley busts your head every single game, and him and Pinion tit for tat. Pinion is bigger than Pat Bradley, but Pat Bradley got his shot off all the time. So these guys just have lost respect for Eric Musselman on this team, and it shows. It shows when you have one of your best shooters, and I'm gonna go to battle at this point. He played good defense in the first 5 minutes. He was on the floor. He got a steal, but you yank him out the game, and for what? He really didn't do anything to get yanked out the game. He took a shot, he missed it. We didn't see him the entire second half. Yeah. He's not a point guard. You can't expect him to actually run the team. That's not his job.
Nope.
Another point that I want to make, if you see any one of these guys get the ball, they not passing. Tremont Mark, Battle, and Bacchiotomy. If y'all watch my podcast, I can't think. Graham. They not passing the ball. So
I was gonna say Davenport too. Davenport.
Yeah, he's a spot-up shooter, so I don't really expect him to shoot. I don't expect him to pass because usually he just spotting up anyway.
That's true.
But those three guys, if they get the ball, they not passing. Now, I will say this about Graham. When him and Twinkle Toes are in the game together, they share the rock. They share the rock between the two. I think those two guys should be on the court together. But those three guys do not look to get their teammates involved. They are going to shoot the ball every single time they touch it. And I'm just overall frustrated with this team and how they're playing ball. They're not sharing the ball. Offensive game plan is terrible. Man, I'm sitting here. I was talking to G today when we was watching the game, and I'm like, man, there's not one player on this team that I can truly say I like. I can't say I like any of them because I can't rely on them. No. Tremont Mark, I like him I like his play, but I don't like the fact that he doesn't get his teammates involved. And if we just think about Michael Jordan, when the game started, what's the first thing they did? They gave it to Bill Cartwright. First 3 times down the court, Bill Cartwright or Will Perdue, they got the ball because they wanted to get the big man involved. They wanted to make sure that those guys were engaged in the game. Jordan didn't come out taking the first shot. Never did you see Jordan take the first shot. And I just think it's just you got to get those guys involved. You got to get everybody involved in order to win. And Fishback said something on the broadcast. He said, we're not worried about them trading shots. They need to trade some defense. They need to play some defense. And they just was out there just looking to score. They weren't looking to get dirty. Blocker is the only one who will get dirty and play defense. So that's my take on these guys, man. No respect, no sharing of the ball. This is bad. This is bad basketball. It's bad. And I think I'm gonna say something real controversial.
Uh-oh.
We say we don't want Musselman to go, but I'm gonna tell y'all, man, Musselman almost has reached his ceiling. We see his ceiling right now. This is as far as we're going with Eric Musselman.
So
go ahead.
Okay, but his ceiling is Elite Eight.
Yes.
So are you saying it wouldn't be a bad thing if he left, if he walked away or whatever?
It wouldn't be a bad thing. I mean, think about it, Ty. We have 4 NBA players on the team last year. 4. And all we got was the Sweet 16. You give Rick Pitino 4 NBA players, and I guarantee you we talking Final Four. I mean,
it's hard to argue with that. It's hard to argue with that.
Kentucky got 4 NBA players every year, and they consistently pushing for Final Four. We have 4 NBA players on the team.
I don't know that the grass is always greener on the other side.
I agree with that.
I don't know that. Well, first off, I mean, bro, I'm 40. You look like you're about 30, 35.
I wish.
You wear it well then, bro. You look a lot younger. I've been through, and you have too. I know a lot of people in chat. Damn, it feels nice when you are making those runs in March. Yeah. And I just don't want to take those for granted, and I don't know. I mean, the thing is the job is more appealing than it was when he got here. So it's not necessarily if Muss left, well, then you're not going to get anybody. Who you going to get? I don't know that applies to basketball. It doesn't apply to basketball the way that it does for football.
Right.
But having said that, man, 3 straight Sweet 16s ain't half bad. Back-to-back Elite Eights ain't half bad.
Not at all. Not at all. And the thing about it is Arkansas is an attractive job because when you go to Bud Walton, there's always going to be 18 to 20,000 people in those seats. You can't say that about any other place in the SEC other than Kentucky. It's when we saw Missouri, they had empty seats. LSU, empty seats. That game played on a Saturday at Bud Walton, man, it's almost packed out, no matter win or lose. So the fans show up for this basketball team. The team just are not showing up for the fans right now. We're supporting this team. We may yell and kick and scream because of bad play, but we support. So this is an attractive job for anybody who wants it because they're going to get fan support. And once you bring a recruit to a basketball game and they see 20,000 fans, and the team is 10 and 11, they're like, man, this is a good spot. I think I want to come here and bring this team back.
Yeah. Well, and the other side too is that I don't know what's going on with NIL. I don't know what to believe anymore. I'm getting told one thing, but we know they can do it in the portal. How much of that though is Muss? How much of that is the attraction of his NBA background? These players, I mean, look, he's getting guys in the league. Council, Walsh, Smith, AB, they're all contributing to some degree in the NBA.
Right.
So that should help, right? But that's Muss, though. I don't know that another guy is going to come in and be able to do that. And you talk about all that NBA talent they had on the floor. Muss got that talent.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I've given up on saying I know one thing for sure. You know what I mean? Because anything's possible these days, especially with the transfer portal and the NIL.
Right.
I don't know if it'd be a net positive for him to leave or not. I don't want him to go. I'll say that. I'm still on the Muss bus despite what's happened this year. And like Brimley said when he called in earlier, I know he calls in on your show too. He went out and he got guys. He went against the grain. He went and got scoring guards.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and like he brought up, he got guys that are coming from losing programs. These aren't guys that were winning at a top level. They don't know how to win. I think there's some truth in that. When the way he spoke to it made a lot of sense. I think he can correct this. I still have faith they're going to be able to, whatever the hell's going on with NIL, they're still going to be able to go out and get who he wants, simply because of his background and him being able to get guys. Council what was Ricky Council going to do before Arkansas? And now look at him after Arkansas. He's in the league. He's playing. He's contributing. A lot of people thought he's trash. Well, now he's contributed. Had at least one decent game. Mm-hmm. I don't know how many times he's been called up this year, but
I think he's on the active roster right now. He had 11 the other night.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah. I think he's And Walsh got called up, played a little bit for my C's, for my Boston Celtics. Don't like that they lost to the Lakers the other night. I'm still not happy. The Lakers are trash. Shouldn't be losing to the Lakers, but at home. But I don't know, man. You might be onto something. Like the job is more attractive now than it's been. But it was the same thing when Nolan left. Man, when they got Stan Heath and what Stan Heath did at a no-name job, came here and he shit the bed. We got Palfrey because he was a part of a winning staff at Florida. He shit the bed. Mike Anderson tore it up at two different schools, went to Missouri, got them, on a level they hadn't seen in a minute. And then Mike Anderson got here and he couldn't get past the second round. I don't know that the job is, I think, because it's Arkansas basketball, because of the history, because of Nolan's still like my all-time favorite coach that's ever been on campus. I think that man deserves a statue. But since then, we've done this with every coach, well, he's an up-and-comer. Well, this dude did this at this school, and this guy they've all been hot and heavy. Mike, I'm still shocked that in 8 years he couldn't get past the second round. And yet, Hunter goes out and he grabs Musselman. No one thought he was going to do what he did as quickly as he did it. It didn't. It took Nolan. Granted, that was a different era of college basketball, but it took Nolan 3 years to actually get them on the map.
Right.
And that's after Sutton, who turned the program around and made Arkansas a threat and gave us some great players.
Right.
But I don't know. I wouldn't want to see him go, but I also understand you're a part of it too, where it's like, yeah, but our NIL game is killing it. We've shown that we can do it. Maybe someone else can come in and do it better. And you're not wrong about Patino. I could name off probably a couple other coaches who I think probably could taking a couple of those teams even further. But it's not. I mean, Muss has beaten 1 seeds. He's won games he has no business winning. So I don't know. Well, Anthony Eason says, I'm going to let you respond to him. Anthony Eason says you're overreacting to one bad year. What do you say to that?
I'm a fan. I'm gonna overreact to everything.
That's right.
That's what fans do.
Fan is a fanatic.
Yeah, I'm going to overreact, but I'm gonna say this to Anthony. Anthony, I don't want Muss to leave. Well, what I'm saying is, as a fan, I'm not gonna be like, oh my God, the world's coming to an end if Muss leaves. Arkansas is an attractive job. If Ole Miss can get Chris Beard, we can get somebody the equivalent.
That's true. Ole Miss got Chris Beard. And look at Ole Miss's history.
Yeah.
They don't know how to spell basketball over there.
I wish I had a super trash button right now.
Super trash. Get the hashtag going in chat. Super trash. That's a joke of a basketball program.
Yeah.
Got him.
Yeah.
I mean, You're not wrong. I mean,
Absolutely.
So, all right, man. Well, I appreciate you calling in. Are you going live tonight?
Yeah, we going live, man. Same time always, 9:00, man. We going live.
Late. All right, I'm gonna try and be there for it.
All right, cool. I appreciate it. Well, my wife just came home with groceries, man. She's looking at me like, hey, help me with these groceries.
Oh, I better let you go. I don't want you sleeping on the couch. All right, bro. Thanks
All right, man.
man.
Have a good one.
You too, man.
All right.
Quality calls, man. Quality calls. It's always good when Woo Pig calls in. You guys are awesome. Remember to like, share, subscribe. Shout out to those of you who already have. My DMs are blowing up, man. Some of y'all are gonna get me railroaded in my DMs. I going back to what he said about Musselman, it wouldn't be the end of the world. And again, there's an argument to be made that if he were to leave, he did leave the job better than he found it. There's no doubt about that. All of a sudden, Arkansas's expectations every year now, since year 2 under Musselman, have been Elite 8, Sweet 16, or it's a fail. And that's saying something. Think about where you were at before. Now, I also believe, too, and I think a lot of you will probably agree with this also, man, we sure have gone through a lot of coaches who we thought were going to get us there, and they didn't do it. It still shocks me that Anderson had more success at Mizzou than he ever had at Arkansas, at least in postseason play. He did all right in SEC in tournament play. Sorry, in March Madness, he couldn't get you past second round. In SEC play, he did all right. He had some stars. He did pretty okay in recruiting, although you can make the argument he certainly let a few guys slip, maybe more than a few. His recruiting was nowhere near the level. No coach was anywhere near the level, maybe outside of Nolan. I don't want to go into draft picks, but you look at the success and, man, what he's done in getting these guys to the league, it just doesn't happen. That hasn't been the expectation for Arkansas basketball in a long time, not just what you're doing on the floor, but also getting guys to the next level. And that matters when you're talking recruiting and you want to continue that success. That matters. But again, you got to feel like if you're a coach, this has become that job. Like, yeah, I want to go there. Musselman could do it. He didn't exactly set the world on fire at Nevada, and then look what he did at Arkansas. So, guys, hit that like button. I appreciate you, Mr. Kicks. Yeah, make sure you hit the like button. I don't want to lose Muss. I don't either. Super trash. Ole Miss is super trash. That program, basketball program, they don't know how to spell basketball over there. Now they got themselves a dog of a head coach, arguably one of the best. So I don't know. Let's see. Hunter Ratio says it's fine to have a bad year. It's fine to have a bad year with Muss after what he's done for the program. It's different for Sam Pittman. Yeah, and it's different because the expectations of football are not that high. They're just not. They're not that high. Like this year, fans are. I feel like fans want more than just 6 wins, but that will maybe kind of level some things out a little bit. Fans want 7 or 8 wins. Basketball wants more than just making the tournament. They want Sweet 16. They want Elite 8. They want Final Four. And this year we thought we had that team. We thought he went out and he did it. He went out and he got those. He got those dogs. He got those scorers, those guards who've got a little bit of length. You may not be full of 6'10", 6'11", 7-footers, but you got length. You got athleticism. You had this raw talent from these places. Again, not great programs in terms of wins and losses, but guys that themselves individually were fantastic. And it's just not. Again, he went against the grain this year in what he's done typically in the portal, and it didn't work out for him. So I agree. One bad season, his seat's not even. It's not even lukewarm. I don't think. Maybe I'm wrong. You guys tell me. And again, I'll put the link out there one more time. Do you think I can't do polls on StreamYard, but you guys think his seat is warm? I don't. I don't think it's warm. Anybody thinks Ole Miss? Anybody thinks Ole Miss can hold on to Beard? I don't think money will be an issue. Well, he's tasked with, and so far he has defied expectations. I thought Tennessee, that first SEC game for them, I said Tennessee's going to wake them up, and they did. But they've also surprised us along the year as well. I mean, they're a tournament team. Right now, they're a tournament team, no doubt. He's tasked with being the catalyst to Ole Miss basketball in terms of them having now respect. They've never had it. They've had some coaches who've overachieved there, and for them, that's just maybe 20 wins in a year. Must see to secure. It is. I don't even think it's lukewarm. Now, next year, that would be different if we saw this again. Now we're having a completely different conversation. Like, whoa, back-to-back years of this. 3 straight seasons of losing basketball in SEC play. But again, postseason last year made up for that. I wouldn't leave if I were Chris Beard until a better SEC job came up. I don't know financially what – I mean, we know the payout from the SEC network and that whole deal is pretty hefty. So they're, and their football program is probably printing money right now. I mean, Lane Kiffin has put Ole Miss back on the map for football, and we know that's where the money churns. So you got to feel like, along with the SEC money, their own money that they're churning out in their football program, they're on the up and up. So it wouldn't shock me if Beard was there for a little while, but it also wouldn't shock me if he was gone after this year, because Ole Miss is still Ole Miss. But can he change that narrative for Ole Miss basketball? I want a title. Thought if there was no injury last year, we would have us one. Yeah, last year was something else. Nick Smith. I know that guy caught so much heat. Fans said he gave up. And then he comes back after the injury, risking his draft stock, and he paid the price. He dropped out of lottery. He paid the price, and he came back. He lost money. Now, I don't know if that would have changed had he came back after his injury or not. Brazil was out. It seemed like it took them a little while to get some chemistry going, but once they got it going, you saw what happened, what the end result was in March. There's a bigger chance. Now, here's an argument. There's a bigger chance of hiring a coach that gets you Heath Pelfrey results than there is hiring one that gets you Muss results. That's the other side of the argument to being fine with him going. And I think that's probably that's a valid point. You're far more likely, at least according to the Arkansas coaching resume for the last 20 years up until Muss got here, you may be worse off. I think their goal should be to try and retain. Absolutely. Compete. They're going to need to get him an extension. I'm more concerned about what happened. It's not like we've done so great in coaching turnover, right? Especially since Bobby Petrino in football is a good example. I know it's apples and oranges, but Greg Davis says, I'm just taking a medical red shirt as a Razorback fan. I'll be back next year with my eligibility intact. No, these have all been great calls, and I think he made a good point. Woo Pig made a good point. Brimley made a good point. Pat made a good point. I think that – am I missing a caller? I think everyone brought up some really good points tonight. As always, calls are fire. So I appreciate everyone who did call in. Thank you guys for being here. This is an hour and a half long. You guys know I typically keep these at about an hour, but these call-ins, when you guys are spitting fire, I let you continue speaking fire. I'll let you do your thing. Yeah, Muss is a top-tier, nationally recognized coach, and you don't want someone like that leaving. You just don't. Now, next year we might have a different conversation again if we see this happen again. So, pay the man, says Razorback Rock. All right, I do again appreciate all you Patreon supporters. We bounced back up, but we're still not at that 100. But we did bounce up. We gained a few more Patreon supporters over the last few days. I appreciate you guys. Patreon really helps. You guys put gas in the tank, I'll tell you. You certainly do, along with our sponsors, Direct Service Overhead, the Garage Door Company, and the Odd Soul Craft Bar and Pizzeria. Their links are available for you down below. Yeah, we'll be back next week. Again, streaming is going to be I may not even be live on Monday. It could be reactionary content. I don't know. Just, make sure you hit the notification bell. That way you get notified as soon as I go live. I will go live next week, and I'm working on a script for an edited video. As much as I'm not a fan of doing edited content, but I'm kind of forced to do edited content a little bit. So I've got I've got an idea for a video, and I've got a script kind of half written out. So maybe I'll get that released this week. Yeah. All right. See you in Discord, Ty. I'll be there. I got some XP to hand out for Discord supporters or Discord members. So I will see you guys there. We might do a wheel spin tonight. So heads up. Heads up. Let them know in Discord. We might be doing a wheel spin. I think we're going to do a wheel spin, actually. Don't know when, but I'll try to keep you guys on the up and up down there. All right. Again, like, share, and if you're new here, hit the subscribe button. I will see you guys in Discord later on today. And the rest of you, I will see next week. Have a good rest of your weekend.